Hey, what's up, homies? It's Kommander Bloodshot here. Just kidding. It's me, Ryan Winn, here with a little inking demonstration on an old Kommander Bloodshot page from Divinity II. The pencils are by Trevor Hairsine. It's published by Valiant comics. This page had some printing errors, so that's why it wasn't used, but I like to keep the errors around for demonstrations, warm-up practices, things like that. I'd already done a little bit of warm-up here, you can see, with some brush. And right now we're going to get started in with a little bit of nib. We're going to use a Hunt 102. It's your basic nib like this, plastic pen holder. You can get this for a couple bucks at your local art store, Michael's, online. Pretty easy to find, pretty standard, and a pretty great tool for the superhero kind of comic book inking that we're going to be talking about in these videos. And the ink I'm using is Speedball Super Pigmented Acrylic Ink. It's not the regular Speedball. This stuff's a little drier, super pigmented. It's very heavy in the pigment. I kind of like it. It's really tough to work with, but I've been working with it for years. It's what I was taught to ink with when I was working with Danny Mickey years ago when we were working on Spawn. And I change up inks quite a bit, but it's been a pretty good standard for me over the years. And we're going to be putting it to work here on this Bloodshot. So go ahead and give a dip. I'm going to go ahead and finish up this ear. You're going to see most of my lines I draw pushing the pen away from me. It's a good range of motion. I'm comfortable with it. And it provides a clean edge on both sides of the line that you sometimes don't get when you're pulling in. Like this. The nib's running dry there. So like I was saying, most of my lines are going to be pushing the pen away from me. I'll make an X in here so I know to fill these in black later. And this spot's a little smaller, so I just do a little dot. I usually forget those. Those always make it to print too. So a little shading in on the edge of the ear here, where it meets the skull. And then this rendering opens up into the cheekbone. And then up here, I'm going to save these lines. Let's get back into frame. Sorry, guys. It's my first time doing this, so bear with me. I'm going to save brush, or save these lines for brush. Those are very brushy to me. But these guys in here, where the brow kind of comes into the eyebrow, we'll do with the nib. Some nice diamond lines. They don't have to be perfect here. These are gonna hatch in to black. And we'll come back in and do one more touch on those to, excuse me, work them all out. All right, let's get in on this eye. Nice thin lines here. I'm using I'm taking the pen kind of sideways like this. That way the pen doesn't open up. The thickness of the nib is what you're getting there when you do lines like this. And double up there. Let's see. These will be really thin because this is where the eyelid meets the eyeball. And then even before we get into rendering, I like to identify some shapes first. So here we have the sort of bag under his eye. This would be his lower eyelid here. We'll shade that in. Actually, we'll black that in. And once these lines dry here, I'll come back in and do that rendering. Sometimes it doesn't matter that much, and if it wasn't in the eyes, I probably wouldn't care as much. Alright, we can do these wrinkles that fold up into his eyes, little zigzags. And then he's got frost built up on him because he's in a snow scene. He's been waiting for Ninjak for a while. So we'll go thin lines here. And if I remember right, I think David dropped the lines in color a little too. So a little heavy on the underside. And it fades out here at the edge. Alright, I think I want to do the eyebrow. I would usually do that with brush, but since we're doing a pen demo right now, we'll come in and get the furrow of the brow here. Oh, nib is going dry. Let's go for a dip. And I have a little test sheet of paper over by my jar of ink, so I do a test run to make sure it's running off the pen well. And we'll do some wispy hairlines here. Some curlbacks. Curlback is my own little term for this little zigzag here. We'll layer in the hairs. A little heavier on the underside there. So we want to sell that he's got a heavy brow here. Then where the eye comes in under the eyebrow here, we'll start heavying in the black shape again. And we'll fill this in now. Normally I do that with brush, but like I said, we're having fun with the pen. But look, it's built up a bunch of paper from scratching in with the ink into the paper, so I'm gonna have to wipe that off. I like to use like a t-shirt fabric or a thin sock fabric or even just a decent paper towel you can use. You can see here, just I like to pinch and just lightly pull. Don't pull the pen out of the barrel, but just pinch it in there, wipe some of the ink off, make sure it's clean, go for another dip. Most inks don't require this as much cleaning, but this heavy pigmented acrylic ink, it builds up on the nib. Alright, well that's going to be it for my first test inking demo. Thanks for sticking around for it, guys, all the way to the end. This is awesome. And we'll do something more fun next time. Alright, take care.